Welcome back to the podcast that has no name yet, nor is it an official podcast. But today, I am I have a different co-host. My buddy Butts didn't have too much to say about this one, but my brother Pyro, he's here.
Yo, what up? I was actually kind of,
Yeah,
I was kind of excited to do this. I saw a couple of your other ones, and I was like, "Oh, I want to be on there."
yeah, that was hilarious. But we're here to talk about a subject that is somewhat near and dear to my heart. We're talking about the current state of Ubisoft. Currently, it's not really new information, but currently their stock is at an all-time low.
I think it popped back up. I think yesterday or something like that, but not by much. It's still really, really low.
Yesterday, at the time of this recording.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, yeah, and it's at an all-time low in terms of that, and then the sales of their games critically and commercially not super duper hot.
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed Shadows delayed. That was supposed to be their big fall game after Star Wars. I believe that game's called Outlaws.
yeah,
After that
Star
game
Outlaws.
kinda,
Yeah,
I don't want to say flopped. I think it's decently well, but it's clearly not the big hit that they anticipated or needed.
yeah.
And then, I don't even really need to get into all the Assassin's Creed Shadows controversy. It's been like a never-ending nightmare with that game.
Just
Um,
yes.
some self-inflicted and some a little arbitrary, but that's just what it is. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. The first thing I want to say is, oh yeah, and also the most important thing of all is that Yves Guillemot, the owner and president of Ubisoft, and I believe the founder,
Yeah.
considering either selling to Tencent or going private. And it's just like, that's crazy. Ubisoft was one of the biggest publishers in the world, and to hear them going private is nuts. I'm always all for going private, personally. Corporations kind of tend to make things worse, but it's just crazy to think. And then selling to Tencent, that would suck. That would suck so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to say, this personally sucks for me because I've been a fan of Ubisoft games for such a long time. Even when I was a kid, before I even knew it was Ubisoft, before I even played it, I thought Rayman was like one of the coolest things ever. I don't know why, I just did. And then as I grew older, I played Assassin's Creed, and that is like the anchor for me. I was a huge Assassin's Creed fan. And eventually it started tapering off, and we can get into that as well. But from there, I played like most of their major games: Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4, Watch Dogs 1 and 2. I played For Honor, like
Yeah.
Rainbow Six Siege.
That was one of the nice ones. For Honor was a really, really fun game. It's actually pretty crazy how there's really still nothing like it, to be honest.
I agree. Yeah, I do think that is kind of wild.
There's just nothing really like it. It's pretty crazy. They like back then they were doing a fantastic job coming up and innovating in the industry and in the space. It was really cool back then. It was like the fucking like the 2010s.
Yeah, I would say most of their innovation was probably before the 2010s, and then like a little bit into that as well. But I think more than anything, they were refining themselves. And if you hear a sound in the background, I'm sorry, I have a cat. He has a cat too, so
I think mine's probably a little bit more well mannered, I guess. Or
probably, yeah, probably for sure. But yeah, more than anything, I think they just really refined their games. Like, they were really getting things down to science and kind of really making their games really fun, satisfying experiences until they just went too far, I think. Like
do you mean?
annualizing.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I mean the annualization and the homogenized feel of all their games.
Yeah,
Open
yeah.
world, um, go to a tower or a high point, open up the map, a million things on the map screen, rinse and repeat. And
Yeah.
then after the backlash of Assassin's Creed 3, then they want to shift their focus on how they directed games, which sounds great, but for me personally, I hated it. And they were like, it was Assassin's Creed 3 and Watch Dogs after the reception of some of those characters and story, and they were like, okay, we'll have no more white, angry characters, and we won't have super serious narrative-driven games anymore. And for me, that, that was the end of Ubisoft. You know, it was a very long, slow death, but like, I mean, when they did that, I realized they weren't making games for me anymore. Now I don't care if they're, you know, I don't care if the characters are white or whatever. Like, I'm not white. I don't give a shit. But it's
Yeah.
just, do I really? It's like all their games now have this non-linear storytelling, which makes the stories feel very segmented and separated. The lightheartedness comes off really cringy a lot of times, and it just makes for very unsatisfying experiences. And then you get to the point where you've been if you play multiple Ubisoft games, it's like you've played them all at this point.
In some cases, worse than others.
Yeah,
Like with Far Cry Primal, which was one of its biggest controversies, that it was just like pretty much a copy and paste of, what was that? I think 4.
yeah, it was literally a copy and paste of 4. Like it had like the same exact map and everything, just kind of reskinned.
Yeah, they just kind of like changed a few things around and then just changed combat and was like, there you go.
Yeah, it made the combat worse. I mean, Far Cry's combat was never like the greatest thing about it in the first place, but yeah, imagine making that worse. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then you also have like the big issue, like they just really had a bad habit of that. Like you start off with like the original Assassin's Creed games where like 1 was like, oh, this is kind of cool, but then 2 comes out and refines like movement and everything like that, and then like the rest of the Ezio trilogy just kind of like maxes out like the whole Assassin's kit, and then like 3 comes out and they kind of like revamp everything, and then 4 they continue to iterate and improve, but it was just like, I think that was when like they started falling down with the Assassin's Creed franchise, because that's when they started really doing the annualized thing.
Well, they were doing the annualized thing before that. They started
Yeah.
annualizing the games with Brotherhood.
Yeah. Because Brotherhood came out like right after 2, then Revelations, then 3, then 4, I think.
Yes.
And then when 4 came out, they actually released 2 games. Because they released 4 and Rogue.
Well, no, it was 4, and then after that was Unity, and then Rogue came out 6 months or so after Unity did. And then after that was Syndicate.
Wait, Rogue came out after Unity?
Yeah, they were released around the same time. Yeah.
That's crazy. Because honestly, there I feel like the Rogue should have probably came out first. Unity definitely needed some more time in the oven, some more time cooking. That game
Well,
launched
go ahead.
with that's like the game with the one where they launched with the infamous NPC that has no face. It's just teeth and eyes and no face. And like Unity, definitely, they were being a little bit more ambitious with the amount of time they were giving themselves.
Well, the reason that Rogue was around the same time as Unity was because Unity was a PS4 exclusive, and Rogue was the PS3 game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. They kind of keep releasing. I was looking that up like earlier today, but like it was like, oh, it's available. Like you look it up on Wikipedia, it shows like that it's available on other consoles. I guess they re-released it later on.
Yeah, because Assassin's Creed 4 was on PS3 and PS4,
Yeah.
and then Unity was only on PS4, and then Rogue was that game, just in case you couldn't play with it. Which that game is an abomination unto itself.
So I couldn't be that bad.
I mean, it's a good game. I just really hate that story so much.
I do feel like they did kind of squander the whole concept of like, hey, you finally get to play as a Templar, and they kind of just go like, hey, we're just gonna throw it on one of the side games.
Dude, that era of Assassin's Creed was so obnoxious. Like, it was like, I don't know why they were compelled by that idea, like with 3. Because to me, I think 3 did it the best way possible. Because everything we've known up to that point, the Templars are very clearly evil. And then they were like, oh, it's actually a matter of perspective. Like, this is Gundam or something. It's like, dude, come on. Like, they're very much objectively evil. And then when they try to make assassins look bad, they fuck it up. Because the assassins in Rogue weren't bad people. Somebody made a legitimate, actual accident that they couldn't control, and bad things happen. But it's like, dude, what did what did you expect him to do? Just automatically know if he picked up the Eden object or whatever that it was going to just collapse the entire city? He had no way of knowing that.
Yeah,
and then after that, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, because I was like, you can't really be like a thing of perspective because like aren't like they trying to rule the world? Is like the whole premise from like in 2.
Yes,
They're
yes,
like, yeah, I need an apple so we can rule the world. It's like what? And I thought the assassins were trying to like not have that happen.
Yeah, assassins were much more about liberation, and the Templars were much more about like control. Yeah. And it's like, if they presented that in a like, freedom is chaos and control is
order.
Yeah. If they presented it in a way like that, like how Shin Megami Tensei kind of tries to do it, then it'd be like, okay, I could see your point. But they don't do that. Like, every time they did that, Assassin's Creed 3, 4, somewhat, Unity, and Rogue, they just all were really shallow. Like, the assassins weren't bad guys in Rogue. They weren't bad guys in... Well, they weren't supposed to be bad guys in 3. But it was like I was saying, 3 did it the best in that you could sympathize with Haytham and you could see where his logic was with the things he was doing, but he was, at the end of the day, still a bad guy.
Yeah.
And that's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with having a villain.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, after that, you get into the RPG games with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
and it's like...
I think it was like the second time they ever actually took like a somewhat of a break in between the game releases. Because the first one was like Assassin's Creed 1 had like 2 years between Assassin's Creed 2, and then everything just was like bam, 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 bam. And then they took the break. Then they took the break for Odyssey. No, Origins. Sorry, yeah, they took the break for Origins, and then they released that one. And I think that one, I think people were a bit shocked about the RPG mechanics, right? But then it was also like I guess they're doing something new with Assassin's Creed. It's not the same exact thing.
Well, yeah, Origins was a much more warmly received game because, first of all, it was in a location that a lot of people really wanted. And then also, Assassin's Creed's formula was very tired at that point.
Yeah.
So people were, hoping for something new.
Yeah.
And I mean, they kind of got that with 4, but, clearly they, it was announced not too long after that they were going to make Skull and Bones, which we can also get into that as well. But
oh yeah, that's a travesty.
But yeah, from then it was like, yeah, people were like, okay, Assassin's Creed's getting tired with them releasing it every year. We want something new, and they made something new, all right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it popped off a little too well, and now Assassin's Creed is just RPGs, which I almost wouldn't mind. In fact, I wouldn't mind at all if it still had any semblance of what made Assassin's Creed so good to begin with. Like, Origins, due to its location, which I believe that this is like a cop-out, but what they said is, like, due to its location and the way navigating Egypt worked, they felt that it was beneficial to kind of dumb down the parkour a little bit just to make things flow better. Mm-hmm. And the parkour in that game sucks. Like, it's not...
I feel
it's
like
not really satisfying.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the sentiment of all of the RPG games, though, to be honest. I think...
that doesn't make sense for Odyssey, I don't think.
Like, Mirage was like the one that was supposed to actually be the one that returned to form, and it wasn't that great either.
Yeah, that game sucks, dude. I really don't like that game.
Like, there's a lot to not like with the RPGs. For me, the biggest one for me is the monetization. Like, I don't understand why we have like pretty pay to win mechanics in a single player game. I
Well,
don't
because
get
it doesn't matter though. I mean,
that's I was like, why is it like this? The people are like, oh, some people don't have time to play these games, these big long games. I'm like, back in the day, what we did? We had like different difficulties. Oh, well, you can't play it on hard because you just don't have time. Play that bitch on easy.
well, I think that is a fair thing to say, except the nature of how games work now. Everything has a crafting system. Everything has materials you have to collect. Everything has all these kind of grindy aspects.
Yeah,
So
like
it's
God of War.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
God of War has a difficulty option.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I mean, God of War, your gear doesn't matter that much. Like, let's be real here.
I mean, it
Compared to
does,
like
kind of.
Assassin's Creed, that's like a legit RPG. Like God of War has RPG elements, but that game isn't an RPG. Like, your stats don't necessarily matter in that. You can just kind of skill your way through it.
Exactly.
But Assassin's Creed Origins isn't like that. Like, your stats actually do matter.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be too difficult to have like a difficulty slider. That kind of does. I mean, like even Elder Scrolls, which actually do they all have one? I know Skyrim has one. Skyrim has a difficulty setting in it.
Well, yeah, I mean it does. But I think my point is though that like if you don't want to run around the world collecting materials, then you just buy the microtransaction and then you just get the materials. You can level up and you can progress. I mean, I get it, but like personally, I don't really mind because one, like you said yourself, it's a single player game. Like, I mean, spending extra money on a single player game doesn't mean shit. Like, you're not really affecting anybody but your own experience. Like, I wouldn't do it, but it's like if that's what you want to do, like go ahead. Who cares?
I don't know, man. It seems scummy though, to be honest. Especially with
Why? Why is it scummy to just give someone an option to do something? Like it doesn't matter.
like, why does it need to be like? It's just like, hey, we're gonna design a game that's gonna be extra difficult to heavily incentivize people to go into the cash shop.
But it's not extra difficult though.
But that's been like a lot of the complaints with the RPG games is that they feel unnecessarily tedious. Granted, this is third-party experience. I haven't played the RPG games because they just don't look fun to me.
Okay, I have played them.
Okay.
I have played them. They're not like hard. Like I mean, yeah, they can.
I didn't
The
say
difficulty
hard.
can.
I said
Well,
grindy.
that you said that's what you just said was hard. You said the game's
Okay.
more difficult.
Okay, I'm sorry. I meant like they're making the game more grindy to incentivize getting people to go into the cash shop.
But I don't think that. I mean, in some level they probably did, but I don't think that's necessarily because if you play Assassin's Creed 4, right? You have to go around the world. You have to kill those fucking turtles. You have to go whaling and all that shit, and you collect their skins to level up your armor. It's the same. It's the same thing in Origins. Granted, you have more like things you level up or whatever, but it's the same thing in Origins. It's just it matters a little bit more because your actual stats and stuff are tied to it versus in Assassin's Creed 4 where it's just armor. It's just more defense.
It's more like if you want to have more health, maybe.
Yeah, it's just that it inherently has more value because your performance in the game will be tied to that. And to me, it's like if you don't want to run around collecting items and you just want to spend $3 or $5 real quick and get that shit and move on with the story, like who cares? Because it's true. I mean, dude, we're adults gaming with these fucking long ass. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for what feels like 20 years. It's like sometimes you kind of want to move on, and it's like it's just taking forever. And it's like to me, I don't see any harm in providing an option for someone, especially since it's an option that you can just completely ignore or avoid. Like when I played that game, I saw the microtransactions, and I was like, whatever. I'm not. Who gives a shit? I'm not using this. What the hell were we talking about? Anyway, yeah, Assassin's Creed. That shit. It was falling off, man. And then you got Shadows, which I don't know.
It was, like, the weirdest part about the Assassin's Creed thing is that like Valhalla was like it fucking popped off for no reason.
Yeah, Vikings at the time were popular, for sure, and also it was a part of that was one of the other games that they released where they said, "Oh, we're going back to like our roots," because
Oh
they
yeah,
put
that was the
they
first.
put the they put the stealth in where you can sit on a bench, and then they put the one where you can walk into groups of people. But they're going so far into their roots that you don't assassinate Templars anymore. It's a side mission. Fuck off.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's the same way. I don't know. I just feel like at first, again, like I stated, I was shocked to see how successful Valhalla did. Uh, but yeah, genuinely, I thought like, yeah, we're finally experiencing the second wave of franchise fatigue for the AC franchise. And then Mirage is kind of like that. Yeah, big nail. I think that's probably part of the reason why they're kind of delaying Shadows. Because I feel like Shadows was supposed to be like another big one for them. They're like people have been begging for Japan for a long time.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I feel like they were like, all right, here's our, yo, Valhalla popped off. Now we're gonna go to Japan for these people because they won't shut the hell up about it. But then controversy. And now
Yeah.
they don't know what they want to do. I've heard a lot of mixed things about it, like their bugs and some other things. I've heard about like, potential rewrites, but it seems like there's a lot going on. And then also now with their stock prices tanking, there's probably a lot going on.
Truthfully, I think like I mean, what they said was that they were mostly just polishing the game. I can believe that. From what I understand, like, I mean, it's a big open world game. I wouldn't be surprised if it needed some more polish. But I heard that the gameplay really was like kind of lacking. Even in the gameplay bits I've seen, it was fine, but it was like not the most interesting thing in the world. So I don't know. We'll see. I was really, I don't want to say excited, but I was definitely looking forward to that game. And then the closer and closer we got to launch, I was like, I don't know. I think I'll wait for the reviews and see what they say, and then maybe I'll pick it up, or maybe I'll just GameFly it and say I don't know. Who gives a shit? GameFly
Yeah.
sponsor me, please.
Please. No, yeah, I guess because I'm more of one of the casual kind of gamer side of things. I just didn't give two fucks about Shadows when I first found out about it. Someone was like, yeah, the Shadows is coming out. I was like, oh, well, what's going on? They're like, oh, they got Yasuke in there. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's nice that they're gonna have him in the game. I was like, oh no, you play as him. And I was like, oh, well, that's weird. You don't really typically play as the historical characters.
Yeah.
Like Ezio's like loosely based off of a family, but like everything around him is completely fake and like made up. He's like the only one. Everyone else is like nobody real. They're like 100% authentically fake.
Yeah,
So
authentically fake.
yeah, they're not real. And then so I was just like, oh dang, that kind of sucks. So there's not gonna be like this cool little mentor moment or thing like that with Yasuke. It's just you play as him. I was like, that's kind of disappointing.
Well, I mean, who I don't know.
I don't know. After that, I was just like, well, it is what it is. I wasn't gonna buy it anyway. So I was just like, fuck it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, I wasn't gonna buy it.
Yeah.
I was
like at the end of the day, I didn't really give that much of a hell fuck because I was like, I'm not buying this.
I was always gonna GameFly that one, buddy. Just on the off chance it was bad. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't really the Yasuke thing. I think is weird that you play as a historical character. I do think that's weird. I don't really mind that all that much though. I just don't. I'm not really crazy about the fact that you have two different characters that play differently. Like that, the idea of that is kind of cool, I suppose. But like, I don't know. I was like watching Yasuke gameplay, and I was just like, dude, if this is supposed to be a return to form, and then it's like they can't help themselves. It's like they have the same problem that like Sega did with Sonic, where it's like, oh man, we've got to serve the 3D audience, but we've also got to serve the 2D audience. Let's just have them both. It's like, no, just choose one. Or you can pick the best aspects of both and put them together to make a cohesive game. Because really, when it comes to the old school Assassin's Creed fans, I really do think what all anyone cares about is having a story centered around assassins and Templars, having really good, fun stealth and parkour mechanics, And honestly, that's it. Like, people, I don't see that many people complaining about the fact that there are side quests and stuff now. Like, no one cares about that.
I
It's
think they've
really
always,
about huh?
I think they've always had side quests in the franchise, like
Well,
little
they've
side
always
missions.
had
Yeah,
side activities that were tied to like that had some sort of a narrative like focus, like the Da
yeah,
Vinci things and stuff like that. Like they were quote unquote activities rather than side quests. But I mean, it's same shit kind of.
yeah.
Yeah, nobody's really complaining about the fact that it's an RPG per se. Well, I guess they kind of are because I mean, some
They
people
are.
just don't want to level up their character and all that.
Yeah, they don't
I
want to
can
level
get
up.
that.
I think
I can get
also
that as
like
well.
the combat in it is just not the best. From what I've seen from the gameplay, it's like there's not enough hits done. It doesn't feel like there's enough like cool like comboing capabilities. I don't really know exactly because I just it doesn't look like something I want to play.
I mean, let's not pretend like there was ever really any like complex combos in the original games
Oh,
either.
I'm sorry. I was like, what are you talking about? I love chain killing all the people. Like,
No, yeah, the chain killing and stuff like that was what was so good about the original Assassin's Creed gameplay was that the chain kills, like it was simple, but there was
fast,
just yeah and
fluid.
quick, but there were just enough things to spice up your combat that made it fun. Like Assassin's Creed 3, I mean, I think Unity probably has the best combat, but I love the Assassin's Creed 3 combat because there are so many side weapons that you could use, like the hook, like the dart where you can hang people or use it to like scorpion them back close to you.
Yeah.
Like the different clubs and the tomahawks and the dual hidden blades that he would turn sideways and start stabbing people. Like
I like
Connor
the
was cool as hell, man. He had a sick repertoire of weapons.
yeah. I really like when he used the musket. That was pretty fun. He would fire it and then stab people. Like it was really
Yeah.
cool. How they had extra weapons that you could equip, but they weren't like on you. Thought that was really nice.
Yeah, like that. Like in the it was like that in 2 as well, or in Brotherhood, where you could just pick up other weapons and then drop them after you're done using them.
Yeah, I feel like the game just really just needed more, like probably more variety with the enemy types. I think like every game kind of had the same ones. I think that they introduced like the Jaeger style in the in Assassin's Creed 3, right? And that's like the guys who were fast, but they also were really strong and they hit hard. But I just felt like they just kind of really could have did more stuff like that, especially now with the RPG games being a little bit more phantasmal. I don't know, like arcadey, I guess.
Fantastical.
Yeah, I don't know. They have like you can fight like chimeras and stuff in them and magical creatures and have flame blasts. Like I feel like you could still return that old like AC style, but then add the little flame techniques or whatever the hell you want to kind of.
That's
spice
really
it up.
only in Odyssey.
Is it really only in Odyssey where it's like that?
Yeah, Odyssey was the only one that had like superpowers.
I could have sworn that. Well, I mean, I think in Valhalla they still do fight like monsters, right?
Uh, yes
Oh.
and no. Like there are the RPGs kind of have these like Far Cry 3-esque things where like they either get high or they hallucinate from something, and then that's when the kind of fantastical things start like showing up.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Still, they can make some of that shit up. I don't know. I'm not a game dev. It's not my job to figure this shit out.
Sliding away from Assassin's Creed though, because Ubisoft makes more than that.
Yeah,
I mean-
they have their Far Cry franchise.
I have nothing to say about Far Cry.
I really don't either, to be honest. I just feel, the only thing I really say is just like it's just kind of sad watching how they had hit lightning in the bottle with Far Cry 3, and they have been struggling for like a decade to re-achieve that same level of success.
Well, it's just kind of ducktails into the same. It's kind of just the same thing with every Ubisoft franchise. It's like one thing was really popular, and so they're like, "Oh, let's milk that." And it's just like Far Cry 3 had its own things that made it interesting. You had the crazy dictator, and then you had the one psycho character, and you have the drug use and the hallucinations, and they're like, "Wow." People really like those aspects. Let's do them to death. And it's like, all right, man. Yeah, I guess. Like Far Cry 4 was good, but it wasn't, anything crazy.
I think was it 5 was the one they were in like Montana, right?
Yeah, people really love that game.
I feel like that was the one where they tried new things because that's when they introduced like the animal sidekick thing, and didn't it also introduce like a co-op feature in that game too? Right?
No, co-op was in 4.
Oh, it was okay. So 4
And
introduced co-op.
3 as well, if I... No, not 3, but it was definitely in 4. Well, actually, shit, I think it was in 3 as well.
Oh, 3. So like they all had co-op.
Yeah, I think so.
I just only remember it from the fifth one because I was watching a review and it was like the shit just didn't work.
It was for sure in 4. I remember playing co-op with a friend.
Damn.
And I'm pretty sure that was in 3 because the guy that you play as in the co-op for 5 was like a NPC in 3, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I could be completely misremembering this, but I think I'm correct.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy though, because like when you really look into like Ubisoft's like actual back catalog of like IPs and stuff, like they made a lot of stuff. Like I was looking through it earlier today and I was like, oh damn, I forgot about Trials Legacy, the little like 2D motorbike game.
Yeah, Trials.
I was like, that game was really fun. I really liked that one. And then also like they have their little Raveman Rabbits games. They did was it Just Dance?
Yep.
And then don't they have like a couple games with Mario too now?
They're the Rabbids games.
Oh yeah, it's more Rayman Rabbids. Yeah, but like yeah, they have like a crap ton. And then because I remember I was hearing people say like, are they gonna get broken up? Are they gonna have to sell off some of their IPs? And like, really everybody's.
I don't think they're gonna do that.
I don't think they're gonna do that either. Like unless like Guillermo is like trying to find a way of just going private, he might sell off some of his IPs.
Well, I
make
don't.
sure he can secure it, but we don't really know.
I don't think so. I think like because usually companies typically don't sell IP unless the company is literally dying. Like in the case
Of Ubisoft.
well, no, I mean Ubisoft is it's going down the shitter, but when it's officially dead, like THQ. Like THQ did that because they were over.
Yeah, THQ.
But they usually don't sell IP because you can make some money off of it, but I don't think it's like short term money. It's not really gonna solve your problems. I think like most likely, what'll happen is they'll probably just downsize like crazy, and then
yeah, that is true. They have like 40 studios, I think, all over the world.
Yeah, they have a lot. Because part of it is they have like a lot of their studios make specific games. Like they have studios for every major IP they own, and then they also have a lot of smaller ish studios around the world, like in Singapore, and stuff that handle a lot of their like
localization.
No, that handles a lot of their like stuff that most AAA companies would usually outsource. Like, we need like a tiny little asset, or we need like a small art asset, or like we need like some models for cups or something like that. Like stuff like that they usually would outsource to some external studio. But like Ubisoft just owns all of it. It's like they're like these control freaks, which I kind of get, but it's a lot of money to spend. They unnecessarily are doing.
If they do it right, it's not that bad, because like a lot of like even like grocery stores and stuff like that, when they get so big, it's just nicer to have everything you need that you already own it. You don't have to like bargain with anyone. It gets things moving a lot faster and more efficiently. But yeah, they probably are still gonna have to like downsize.
Yeah, it sucks because a lot of people are gonna like lose their jobs, but
yeah,
as a like multi-million-dollar company, like they just kind of have to. Like, I don't really see how Ubisoft keeps itself going with that many people, especially since their IP, like, it sucks to say, but it's like most of their IP are kind of irrelevant or like not very valuable. Like
Trials.
Their most, yeah, I mean, and Trials was never like some huge deal or anything. It was just like a fun small game. But when you think about what is Ubisoft's most valuable IP right now, Assassin's Creed, obviously.
Yeah, because they're planning on like milking that franchise some more. What I heard was like in like 5 years, they're supposed to be releasing like 10 more Assassin's Creed games.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and some of them are going to be like actual just full on remakes. I think this would be a Black Flag remake. I'm not sure if they're going to be like HD remake or like a full on.
You mean a remaster or a remake?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they They announced their like Assassin's Creed platform thing that they are thinking of doing, or well, that they are going to do, I should say. Um, no, I mean it's like this weird. It's this like thing where I don't. It's hard to describe, but it's like a game hub. So it's like essentially an app where you access Assassin's Creed content. So it's like you get on this app and then you can play the brand new Assassin's Creed, or you can play an old Assassin's Creed, or you can play their mobile game, or you can like look at some Assassin's Creed movie or something like that. It's like this weird.
Oh, so is it like Xbox Game Pass, but for Assassin's Creed?
I don't think it's supposed to be a subscription though. It's like this weird. It's kind of like how Call of Duty works now, like where it's like there's the Call of Duty game, and then from that you can access different like you can access Black Ops 4, whatever fucking whatever Call of Duty game they're on right now.
Like the Master Chief Collection.
I guess that's like kind of a good example, except it's continuously updated with new games on it. And then they were like, "Oh, we'll add." It's very confusing. I mean, I remember when I watched that presentation, I was like, "I don't really understand how or why you're doing this, but whatever, whatever." Anyway, I don't know. It was weird. What were we talking about? Far Cry. Yeah. The thing with Far Cry for me is like after 4, I kind of tapped out. Like, I played 5. But I didn't play it a ton. I wasn't really crazy about it. Some people say the story gets really good. I'll believe them. But it's just when I was playing it, I was not really enjoying what I was playing. And then 6, I thought was interesting. I thought it looked cool, but I just have not played it yet. But then I hear a lot of people say it was like really not great either. So it's like, my second baby, Watch Dogs, man. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, Watch Dogs is dead. Watch Dogs has been dead for a while though. Cause what was the last one? What did they call it? The one
Legion.
Yeah, the UK game. I think it was in the UK, right?
Yeah, it's in like England.
Yeah.
It sucks because I really loved Watch Dogs 1.
Did you
and
did you play the most recent one?
Legion?
Yeah.
No. So I really liked 1, and then I played Watch Dogs 2, and I thought it was good, but I was not in love with it. Like, you know, that was after they did their decree of like, you know, non-linear storytelling and non-angry characters or whatever. And so you play it, it's in San Francisco, and you have this like group of hackers, and it just was so stupid. Like, the characters were really dumb. I guess there's some good cutscenes. Like, not too long ago, that game was kind of trending on Twitter where people were talking about how amazing the cutscenes are. And it's like, yeah, I mean, clearly the actors had like a lot of chemistry with each other, and their performances were good. But it's just like, when I played that game, did I really give a shit about Wrench? No. I think the main character's name was Marcus. No. Like, I didn't care about any of these characters. Like, they were all just dumb goofballs, and the stakes were so low that I couldn't possibly care. And then the fact that they made DedSec good guys, dude, they were like the big evil thing in the first game, and then they just made them this lovable cast of silly guys. It was just like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. And then, you know, they continued that with Legion for some reason, and I was willing to somewhat give it a try because they were doing the thing where you can play as anyone, which is, again, it's like, oh no, we can't stick with it. We can't actually write a character out. Like, let's not make a interesting character. Let's just do some random bullshit. It's like at that point, huh?
Let's just have you randomly play as an old lady.
Yeah. And so, and I think that game has permadeath or something like that. And I was just like, I don't know, man. That sounds interesting, but I don't know. And sure enough, you know, the reviews came out and people were saying it wasn't really great. And now they've officially internally killed the Watch Dogs IP. Like, Watch Dogs is over.
Damn.
And,
wait, seriously?
Yeah, it sucks because, like, I really do love the Watch Dogs gameplay so much. Like, even though I was not really into the characters and story of Watch Dogs 2, that gameplay is so good that I didn't really mind. Like I played it and I was like, yeah, I didn't love this, but it was a good time. And then it's just now it's over. It just sucks.
Yeah, it seems like they kind of have like a really bad habit of like doing something, fucking it up, and then just kind of being like, I'm done with it. It's like the Tom Clancy franchise is kind of like in this weird spot. Like they still got like Siege going on, which is I guess is still a part of like the Tom Clancy, but like the Division, which I didn't love the Division 1, but it was pretty fun. I enjoyed it for what it was. I just felt like they kind of needed a linear story. Something for me to like actually follow and slowly learn the lore and the world around me. And there's just a bunch of random missions. I was like, it's kind of a waste.
Well, I mean, it had a story. It did have a linear story. It's just it was very
It was kind of hard to
stripped
follow.
down.
I honestly had no idea what the hell was going on in the vast majority of the time. I was like, go to this marker. Cool. I want more loot. That's all I cared about. Give me more loot. I loved exploring the map too. Like I thought the exploration and stuff was really cool.
Yeah, the environmental storytelling was very good in that game.
Yeah, it was nice. I really enjoyed it. It was like it's like, oh dang, it happened. They still have like Christmas decorations up in certain areas, and it's like, wow, that's so cool. I think the only problem is that just at that time, technology wasn't at a point where we could really explore the buildings in a nice way, and I feel like we really should get another Division game, especially like with like how much tech has pushed and how much it's gone past, where we can actually have like maybe a nice area where there's a little bit more interesting combat and you can duck and dive. But honestly, it feels like after 2 didn't do as well as 1, it looks like that's not happening.
I don't know if that's true. I feel like Division 2 did better than 1 because they supported that game for like a while.
They supported it for a while, but like I don't know if I haven't really been following it much, but I don't know if they've updated it at all recently.
Well, yeah, because they're making the other games. Yeah, Division 2 sold 10 times as many copies.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah. That game was successful. It's just, it was, they kept it going for a while. It's just, eventually, it was time to stop. Because that game wasn't going to go on forever like Destiny. Like, they wanted to move on to the next game. And so, they had another game, an in-between game cooking up, but then they canceled it. And now they're just doing the Division 3.
Oh, okay. Well, that's...
So the Division isn't dead. It's just, they're making it right now.
It's an oven. It's incubating.
And that team, if I remember correctly, that team is the one that put out Avatar.
Oh, shit. That came, was that this year or was that last year?
That was last year.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, man, yeah, that was like another one of those big flops. Like, they kind of like, pretty much all of this year, I think all of their games that released this year kind of were like middle, like mixed or bad. And
well, I mean, that's every Ubisoft game, really, except in terms of their recent output, everything has been very like mediocre to not great in terms of like critical and commercial success.
I don't know how people are feeling about the whole like the Mario games because I don't got a Switch, so I don't.
Okay, I suppose that's not true. Yeah, those games were successful. People did really like those games.
The Mario games. Yeah. I was like, I know they had them. I just don't know if people are playing them or not. Because I ain't looking into it. But yeah, they look cool. I mean, they keep making them, so I guess people like them.
Yeah. Those games are really good, from what I understand.
It would be nice to see like a new Rain Man, like actual Rain Man game come out. Like a 3D one would be cool. Like seeing the success.
No,
of,
dude. They could do Rainbow. They could do Rayman Origins #3. Well, those games were super popular. People love those games.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm saying like they could either do that, or we could get like a really cool like 3D Rayman game, like with the success of like Astro Bot. That shows that people have interest for some really good, well put together 3D platformers. Like you really aren't seeing like a lot of the bigger publishers pump those out.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, that game. Well, I don't think we know the sales on Astro Bot yet, but I mean, it probably sold probably a couple million copies. But I mean, yeah, that's true. The thing though is like, while Astrobot is, I mean, critically like very successful and probably commercially as well, we're at the point when it comes to the AAA space that developers, or I should say publishers, I mean, they're spending so much money on these games that they want to maximize profits. And if you're looking to maximize profits on a non-Nintendo system, a platformer isn't really the way to go. Like, the general audience isn't really gonna want to buy
Yeah, but
a 3D platformer over something that looks like God of War, something like that.
yeah, but I don't think these games all need to have like these ridiculous 200, 300, 800 million Skull and Bones dollar like investments. You know what I mean? I don't think they need to be that big. Skull and Bones is the way that it is because it just was. That one's just like a time investment thing that just kind of like they just kept kicking it down the road. I think they rebooted it a few times. Jesus.
They also got money from the Singaporean government, if I remember correctly. But
you better make this game
because if I remember correctly, that game was made by the Singapore team.
That's crazy to me because I'm like they couldn't have just like ripped assets from Assassin's Creed 4 and then just like go from there.
Yeah, that's all I wanted. I literally just wanted Assassin's Creed 4 again. Just with like a different characters. They just didn't want to do it for some reason.
Just throw like PvP or something, so that people can go up against each other. Because I genuinely thought that's what they were going to do. I was like, because when they first announced it, the animations looked really familiar. But then they were like, nah, we're going to scrap all that and do something different. I was like, damn, that's crazy. You guys had all the work done.
Dude,
to innovate. That's it.
My biggest disappointment when I saw that game was when I saw the boarding was a cutscene. My heart sunk, dude. Boarding ships in Assassin's Creed 4 is the height of entertainment, dude. Like, it was... Oh, man. I love that shit. I love that shit. And they just made it a cutscene, dude. I don't understand. I just don't get it.
Everything is a cutscene. You need to harvest some resources. Gotta get that sugar cane. Cutscene.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think you have to sit there and then like press the button to shoot or something like that. Yeah, it's. I mean,
you press the activate button or whatever it is, triangle. I don't know, X maybe.
Yeah.
And then you just sit there and watch it just disappear, and then go in your inventory.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate with that game, dude, and it's fallen off too. The other game we should mention as well is X Defiant. That's what it was called. X Defiant is their. It sucks because I actually think X Defiant has a really cool concept. It's like this class-based shooter where each class is based off of a different Ubisoft IP. So it's like there's like a a DPS, tank, healer, blah blah blah, from Watch Dogs, and then one from The Division, one from Splinter Cell or something like that. And so it's like you choose your classes and they all work together. And then you just go in and play. And I haven't played it yet. I think the combat looks fine. It looks pretty good. But, from what I hear, people are just not playing it. And it's falling off.
Well, at least it's not like Concord,
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not Concord, but it is dying. I mean, the game came out this year, and it is dying.
I mean, real death. I didn't even know that game exists. I feel like I might have heard it like once, and I was like, I don't care.
That's the problem. Like, yeah, I mean, they had another live service game that they made as well. But that game came out 1 or 2 years ago. I can't remember what it was called, but it was another shooter. It was a FPS battle royale type game, and I thought it looked kind of cool. But it died.
Is that Call of Duty game they were making? I mean, it's not Call of Duty, but it was like Call of Duty.
I think X Defiant is what you're thinking of, because X Defiant looks a lot like Call of Duty.
Oh, X Defiant is the Call of Duty game? Oh, okay, yeah, that would explain why I was like, nah, I'm good. I want to play Call of Duty. I'm just going to play Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's just, they can't seem to really get anything right, whether it's their fault or not. And I think a lot of it is, like, from what I understand, these games, because I haven't played them yet, but from what I understand, their problem is really... Well, no, I actually played that other one, not X Defiant. I played that other one. But I think it's just the execution of the updates and stuff like that, from what I understand. Like, they don't really update super often, and then when they do, they kind of fuck up the balancing or something.
Damn.
Skill-based matchmaking was like an issue, I think, as well.
Yeah, you gotta be... Skill-based matchmaking is a thing that, like, has to be in a live service game, but you have to tune it right. because you don't want
Yeah.
your casuals and your your normie players getting stomped. So they need to have fun, or there's no player base.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, where do you really see this going? I kind of already said what I think is going to happen. I hope they don't sell to Tencent. I hope that they just downsize, maybe go private. If not forever, for at least for a little while. And
I would like to see what I would like to see is for sure have them sell off some of their IPs. I'd like to see some
why
other.
do you want to see that?
I just want to see. I want to see other studios take a crack at like Splinter Cell. We haven't had like a solid ass Splinter Cell game in a long time.
It's very true.
Like, come on, let's just give it to Kojima. Let's give Splinter. let's have Kojima do Splinter Cell. Honestly, it's just not something I want to see. I don't want to see Ubisoft go away. It's like they're such an integral part of like the gaming industry. I know they fuck up a lot and make a lot of mistakes, but like not having them around, it's just like one less. Because like after Xbox just ate up, like Microsoft just ate up all those studios, and we're watching them literally destroy them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like now we're like in a situation where like another big one is like on its way out, and it's like, sheesh, dang, what are we gonna do, man? Like, what's going on? What happens now?
I truly don't think Ubisoft will go away, because I really do think like they are so dedicated to making games. I think that like worst case scenario, they become a very like not very small, but a much smaller AAA publisher, and they just kind of really focus on their output like in a much smaller way. Like obviously Rainbow Six will definitely keep going. Maybe they make a Rainbow Six 2 or something, I don't know, but that keeps going, and then you have your Assassin's Creed team as well. But anyway, all our well wishes to Ubisoft. Despite everything, we still love you, and we really hope that they can like pull it through. Until then, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it'd be kind of cool if like Nintendo bought the Rayman's IP.
Yeah, you just love the idea of them selling that IP.
It's just like I just don't know, man. They're not doing anything with it. Just give it to Nintendo, and Nintendo's gonna make a new Rayman game.
I get it. I guess I get it.
And then we finally get Rayman and Smash.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we really need Rayman and Smash? What is he gonna do? Punch people? I don't know.
I don't know. They fucking put Steve in the game.
Yeah, but Steve is like a unique character.
Yeah, so you just make Rayman a unique character. I don't know. Fuck.
Well, Rayman doesn't have any particularly interesting things.
No, they did Captain Falcon. He's all made up.
Fair enough. Well, he's based off the anime, though.
Oh, he's based off the anime?
Yeah. All the stuff he does in the game is based on the anime.
Damn.
But anyways, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff YouTubers like to say.
Hey, have you guys noticed that when someone says like in the video, the like part, it flashes, and when they say subscribe, the subscribe bar flashes? Isn't that weird?
Is that real?
Yeah, it is. If a video says like, the like bar goes like, and it's all like rainbowy and stuff. And then if you say subscribe, it does that too. You should probably, like, if you watch another video, you should probably see it. It's really weird.
That's crazy. We'll do that so that you can see the satisfying imagery in front of your face. Until next time, goodbye and good night.